home building and remodeling show. Let's go. Welcome everybody to the Home Building and Remodeling Show. My name is Chris Kirby and I'll be your host. I am the owner of 3 construction companies on the Alabama Gulf Coast. The show is about residential construction. We're going to cover topics of home building and remodeling. Are you thinking of doing a remodel or building a home? Are you a contractor looking to improve your knowledge base or grow your business? Have you ever done a remodel project or built a home? There were so many things you wish you knew or that you could have done differently during the process. Then this show is for you. We break down the process of building and remodeling and how to have the best results during your project. Whether you're a DIYer looking for tips, someone looking to hire a contractor to do a project, or a contractor looking to expand your knowledge base or your business. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Stay tuned. We kick off the show with my thoughts on home building and remodeling. I'll share best practices and talk about some of our experiences in business and out in the field. These shared thoughts and lessons learned are meant to help you on your very own journey. Let's go. I want to talk about how to really dominate the industry and to really grow in any industry that you're in, but we're talking construction, remodeling, home building. You have to be a student of the industry. You have to be a student of, like they say, you have to be a student of the game, right? In sports, and understand not just what's happening on the field or on the court, but you have to understand and study, go back and watch film. Well, in construction, I implore you to do the same thing. There are a multitude of videos and YouTube channels and different ways to learn construction. There's the NARI, National Association of Remodeling Industry. There's the NKBA, National Kitchen and Bath Association. There's the NAHB, National Association of Home Builders. And all of these different councils provide education. And so being a part of these associations do more than just say, that you're a part of them, but they're providing education. Construction is ever changing. So if you're not a student, or if you're not continually learning in your industry, you're going to fall behind because your competitor is learning and studying, and they're bringing that new and relevant information not only to the client, but they're using it and applying it out in the field. You may be using outdated technology. You may be using outdated products out in the field. So there are changes in product information all of the time. And if you are only keeping your head down working and not taking the time to learn our industry and learn about new products, investing time in growing your knowledge in the construction industry, you're going to be left behind. If you want to provide the client with a more efficient remodel or a more efficient build, then it's imperative that you continually learn and professionally develop in our industry. It's so important to learn about the new products, to learn about the new techniques, and then try and apply them out in the field. Now, what I will say is for us, we always want to be at the forefront of innovation in our industry. There are different products introduced all the time, whether it be at trade shows or elsewhere, right? If you read Pro Remodeler or you read Fine Home Building, in it Pro Builder, any of those types of magazines, you'll continually see new products in those magazines that are up and coming and that make a difference out in the field, whether it's siding for exteriors and stone or any of that type of stuff. There's for us specifically, I know Schluter was a game changer, and there's so many different types of products, installation techniques. So we bring out people to show our team how to properly install this stuff. I feel it necessary for you to be a construction professional. You have to continually learn. And by continually learning, I mean watching videos, reading books, reading magazine, studying. To be honest, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and ask them what new products have come in. And they'll tell you. There are a lot of those people who've worked construction, and so they get giddy when there's a new product or a new tool or a new technique that comes out, So you can ask a lot of those reps there and they will provide you information. There are so many different sources of information out there. Part of what I want to do on the show is corral that. I want to provide you websites that I've personally looked at that I think are good for you to learn and develop your trade or your skill to become a better craftsman or craftswoman. I think it's imperative for you to continually learn. And now we move into Shop Talk. It's the portion of the show where I bring in a co-host and we cover trending topics in home building and remodeling. Hope you enjoy. Let's go. Up to that, you've got a few inspections that you do, footers, foundation, plumbing, and stuff like that. But that's our major. And once we're done with that, it's really all about the final. Well, you do insulation and some municipalities.
Some don't, exactly.
And then it's final. So tell me about the difference between, again, the building inspection and then the fortification process.
So fortifying inspection is going to come in. He's going to inspect there's three different ones. You get your bronze, silver, gold.
Yeah.
Bronze would be just the roof.
Yeah. And actually, I think they call that just fortified roof now.
Correct. So you're looking at how that roof is installed, nail patterns, types of materials used, sheathing, and all that goes into that roof. When you jump up to the next one, it's your roof and your gables that are all basically installed for fortification purposes. When you get to gold, that's going from the foundation. You can follow everything all the way up to the roof.
Yeah, the load path.
It's locked in, so everything is supported by everything else.
Yeah.
And we have inspectors that will come out there. They're going to inspect your windows. They're going to inspect your strapping. Yep. They're going to inspect your roof with your nail patterns, make sure the sheathing and the wrap underneath is installed.
Yeah, so you have to have a weather shield, basically.
Correct. They're going to inspect your doors, make sure they're within.
So your doors and windows for a gold fortified house, they are different how?
They're going to look at the wind rating.
Okay.
Make sure that they're going to pass for wherever area you're in, what that wind rating.
Do you have to have impact windows for gold fortification? Now you do so let me clarify this. On a second story, all the windows have to be impacted for gold fortification. And the reasoning for that is you are not going to get out on that roof and try to put on shutters for a second story window. Yeah. So, but on your first floor, do all your windows need to be fortified? Impact.
I will say this goes back to the areas.
Yes.
Some areas do. It's a mandated process that all have to be fortified or impact. There are certain areas where they don't have to be.
Okay.
However, if they're not impact rated windows, they do have to either have a shutter or a what they call a canvas cover, some kind of a covering.
Yeah, and the canvas, we call it a canvas cover. It's the material.
Yes.
And you stretch and pin those on. And so when they're installing the windows, they have these pegs, and then you just pin that on if a storm's coming. Yep. But for fortification, you have to have either or. Yes. So you can build a house with regular windows in some municipalities that don't need to be impact or the shutters, but for fortification, you have to have one or the other. Okay. And so we talked about, fortified roof, your nail patterns, your drip edge, your protective shield, and then silver, your gables, windows, doors, any penetrations, right? And then gold is where all of that is done. So your roof and your silver level has been accomplished. Then you go into the strapping details and all the extra stuff. And that's where the engineer has to draw the plans. So there's 2 pages of paperwork that get filled out. Mm-hmm. The engineer fills out a piece of paperwork saying, here's how I've incorporated fortification in the home. Here's the strapping. Down to the model number of what strapping we're going to use. And then once they fill that out, the builder is filling out the second page saying, here's what we installed. So we're just reiterating that we installed everything that the engineer recommended. And then those 2 pieces, along with the fortified inspector,
And
get
he's
sent.
taking pictures along the way too. So
Sure.
he's documenting each stage. So like for instance, when you're doing, he's going to get in there when you've got the frame up, and he's going to take his pictures where he can see actual strapping.
Yeah.
He's going to come in when you've got the weather shield on there, and he's going to take pictures. He's going to get up on that roof and take nail patterns.
Yeah.
With measurements as far as so that everything is documented.
And then they use was company cam, correct? Or something similar to that, to where you can geotag and timestamp these pictures. So you have the two pieces of paperwork, engineer, builder, and then you have the photos along the way. All of that gets compiled, and they send that up to IBHS. And IBHS makes the decision, yes, it's in compliance, and then they send out a certificate.
Fortification.
Yeah, so and it'll read gold and stuff like that.
Yep.
And what a lot of people don't know is those are only good for 5 years. Yep. So then you get a recheck. So the fortified inspector comes out, makes sure nothing has changed. And where we run into issues are when somebody wants to do an addition. That addition has to meet all the criteria for fortification.
Yes.
Now, if you're dealing with somebody who does not understand how to fortify, then you can basically, when that fortified evaluator comes back out and re-inspects and you've added on and there's no documentation or proof that the addition was built in accordance with what they need, it's going to, your house won't be certified any longer in a gold status. Right. Now, I don't know all the details. I'm not a fortified evaluator. We build fortified homes. There is a difference. We use a fortified evaluator to come out and inspect during our home builds. But we just want you all to be able to learn and grow from some of the stuff that we're going through. We want to teach you what we know and share our experiences. And as always, when Pete comes in, he's got a whole list of problems that he can go through. So there's going to be plenty more shared experiences. And again, it's just about that exposure, putting yourself out there and being able to document our journey, our client's journey, and some of the mishaps, and even some of so if you had to, call out something that was really good that has changed for us. I mean, I can think of one thing in particular, and that was, this same client on Facebook around here. There are a lot of what's happening locally groups, and somebody was looking for a home builder. And our client went on there and called us out and said, look, they're very competent and stuff like that. And so clients appreciate the fact that we educate them, not just on what's going on and we're building their house and we're in there, but we let them know why we're delayed, why we're doing what we are doing. And again, for them to have the delays they've had, but still, reward us with such a nice compliment and recommend us was a highlight, and it's because, hey, we're an open book. All you can do is build rapport and trust with the client. Communication
is just that's key. You gotta talk to your folks, your clients, and it's like the power thing. As long as they know what's going on and why it's happening.
Yeah.
You're going to have these issues. You can draw the best set of plans, but when you start moving that plan to an actual coming to life
it changes, right? What looks great on paper, all of a sudden you start building
it's never going to, I'll just go ahead and say it's never going to be exactly
There's
like
no
you
way.
drew it on those papers, and then as long as you communicate with it and you're willing to move and adjust on, I wouldn't even say adjust on the fly, but you're going to make adjustments. You're going to be going back to the engineer and be like, hey, this isn't lining up like this. What else can we do? And he'll come back with a game plan. And same thing with the fortifier. He'll look at something and be like, hey, this is built like this. Yeah, you put it like this, but it's not really going to suffice.
Yeah.
What do you think about putting, and the fortifier and the engineer will basically, they'll correspond independently from us as the builder.
Right.
And I get emails all the time from the fortifier. Hey, engineer, what do you think about this? And then he's like, yeah, that looks good. Let's do it. And then I'm getting my guys to install it.
Right.
And it just betters everything. So, I mean, it's always
But like,
changes.
some people have the sentiment that, they don't need to know all the details. But the problem is if you let something fester for too long, or you are non-communicative, if you don't communicate enough, that delay becomes a problem.
Yes.
Right? Instead of just a delay, right? You almost want to over communicate during that delay. Here's the emails we sent. Here's what's going on. And here's, because they just see day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. They don't see the 45 emails and chain and engineer to fortifier to architect to builder.
The behind the scenes stuff.
And that's where, we have to continually improve to get this thing right. So, all right, Pete, I appreciate you stopping in. And again, we'll do it again soon and bring more shared experiences to you. All right, thanks.
Now we're going to move into the portion of the show where we talk interior design. We're going to bring in an interior designer and we're going to talk trending design and products. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
And as far as the creative side of things, do you do mood board, vision boards? Like, how do you start the process? If there are clients who want to visualize, they have to see it.
I did do the termite house, we'll call it that, I guess. Yeah. I did do a mood board for their bathrooms.
Okay.
And their kitchen.
And we'll share that. Yeah. We'll get some shots of that for you guys to see.
So those were done. And then the drawings, actually, I did do a drawing for the mudroom / laundry room, and obviously the 2020 kitchen cabinet drawings. So I didn't do those. We worked with a cabinet designer on those, but either way, so they did have those.
Yeah. So you had a mood board and the drawing for the mudroom. Did you do that in house?
I did that on the house.
Okay. Yeah. So Houzz, Houzz, for those of you that don't know, we use them for a lot of different things on the interior design side specifically, but they also have a program. If you have their pro package, you can do drawings and for simplified drawings, it's great.
Well, it was really helpful in this case too, because I was removing a wall, adding a wall, possibly adding a door. So I did have 2 different designs for them, so they were able to see both of them and choose which one they
And then
wanted.
their kitchen, you said, came out of 2020.
In the kitchen, we actually met with the client and the kitchen designer, so all that was done pretty much right there and then. There was a couple changes that had to be made for appliance size purposes, but other than that,
And then as we're going through the construction side, right, and our team is in there, and we had to go get engineer drawings because we were opening it up, right? So the kitchen. Now, would you say that was a closed off kitchen, or because you had a kitchen, the dining room, and a huge wall in between?
Yeah.
And so now we've opened up that wall, correct? So the kitchen is now open to the living room. So we had to get that engineered because it was load bearing. And was the open kitchen concept a recommendation from you, or is that just
that was another one that they came in? So they pretty much
they knew they wanted an open concept
pretty much
kitchen.
Was the mudroom and the laundry room.
Yeah. And so where do you get started when and we took out, they had some nice cabinets and we're going to repurpose some, but they're going to get brand new cabinets. So when you're doing a major remodel, you're looking at different aspects, each room and stuff like that. How do you start with a kitchen going from a closed concept to an open?
Pretty much a lot of people are leaning towards the open right now, so that's not normally a conflict.
Sure.
They're pretty much, when they're coming to me, they're the ones I've worked on anyway, have always just had in mind that's what they want.
And then where do you hit hiccups on the construction side, right? Because sometimes I think our construction guys can get into the weeds of construction, and then our interior designers can oversimplify the construction process too. So we're always doing a push-pull to keep the vision intact. So I will tell you what the client wants, and what the interior designer comes up with is usually 99% of the time the end result, but there is a whole story behind how to get there. And sometimes, have we hit any hurdles on the construction side that we had to readdress on this one?
No, thankfully nothing other than just finding more termite damage, but that did not affect the overall design. I would have done a larger shower niche, but they did have a pipe that was running through the wall
and
in a place so I did have to make it a little smaller.
Okay. All right.
But other than that, there hasn't
and
been
then
any.
Another thing I noticed that you do specifically, because I did a walkthrough video tour and just kind of looked out the scope of work we were doing, and I noticed there was handwriting all over the walls.
Oh.
Yeah. So what was that about?
Well, I can't always be there. Eventually, I'll have a little nanny cam in all these job sites because I like to know what's going on. But yeah.
So what did you do? So you wanted to ensure that we were doing what?
Yeah, because I can't always be there. So if I can, originally before they took out all my walls at this house, I did have the actual layout of that kitchen. I mean, the laundry mudroom design. So they knew where to take the wall out, and then when that paper got, everything got thrown away, and that drywall throw out whatever. Then I started marking on the floor. So I just have to keep changing how I communicate.
Yep.
But I'm always leaving a trail. So it's going to be.
And you did that, right? You were writing measurements and stuff on the walls. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that really helps our construction.
But they kept taking out my walls. So then I just had to start writing on the concrete floor.
So
that wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah. So you were writing on the walls, and then the sheetrock kept getting ripped out.
Yeah. So then I went to the floors. So.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll let you go, but we appreciate you coming in as always, and we'll continue. We're going to do some before and afters, and we're going to really dig into this project that Christy is working on.
And they're a fun couple, so I really hope that they have some airtime.
They absolutely have embraced our process.
Yeah.
They know we like to film and take pictures, and the homeowners, given such a terrible situation with the termite damage, they really have been so helpful, and really every time we've exposed more damage, right? It's frustrating from their perspective, and we as contractors feel bad because it costs money to keep finding and repairing. They have been so gracious, and really they've been the ultimate client. And so, I want to ensure you
and they're hilarious too. So.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, they're just funny, good people. So we'll get them on, and hopefully they can talk about their journey, because part of the learning curve for everybody out there is not just what the construction people do or the designers, but from their perspective, what went wrong, what went right, how this whole project went for them. I would love to hear that. So as always, thanks for coming in and helping us out on the show. And until next time, thanks.
Thanks for joining us today. As always, we are grateful for our listeners and your continued support. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media via Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Get more info at our website, www.thehomebuildingshow.com. And as always, remember who we are, the Home Building and Remodeling Show.